So the point of this video is to walk you through how to install HTTP server and why live server might be a better option for what you're using it for. So to start off here, I have a basic project open in my editor here. It's got an index.html page, and it also has a style sheet attached to it and some other information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my terminal to this folder. Now, it doesn't matter if you're necessarily in the correct folder. We're going to do a global install for HTTP server. So the first thing you want to do is just put in HTTP hyphen server and then a hyphen V afterwards. And if it's not installed, you'll get this command not found. That lets us know that it's not there. Now, the next step you want to do is make sure you have npm installed. So we'll do npm-v, and it should give you back a version number. If it doesn't, then you'll need to go to the node.js website and install Node. Then come back and check npm-v and check node-v to make sure it installed correctly. But you will need to restart your Visual Studio Code in order for you to be able to check those things. Now that we have everything installed and we're ready to install HTTP server, we're going to put in the command on Mac, sudo npm install -g for global HTTP -server. Now, sometimes you'll need the sudo command on a Mac, sometimes you will not. It just kind of depends on what level of authentication you've already done. I've already used the sudo command recently, so it's probably not going to require me to put in a password here, but if it does require you to put in a password, it will not show the letters as you're typing in the password. So just be prepared for that. So we're going to hit enter here, and it's asking for the password. So I'll put in my password, and as you can see, it's not putting in anything. I hit enter, and now it's installing HTTP server. Now, I think before we launch this, it's really important for you to understand the reason why we need to use something like HTTP server or live server in our projects. When a web server serves out a web page, typically it's going to look for an index.html, and that's going to be the default file that it shoots out to you so that you can view the page. When we use something like HTTP server or live server, it works just like an internet server would in feeding that file to us. So the main difference is if we go in and we opened this file, so let's reveal in Finder and let's just say we double clicked it and we launch the file, we have this absolute address up here. We have to hit refresh every time we want to view it, and it really creates a little more work. Well, HTTP server is not much different in that. The only difference is down here, in order to run this, we want to make sure first off, as always, that you are in the right folder. If there's any question, right click on the file and go to open an integrated terminal, pop up the correct folder. Then we're going to do the command http-server and then --watch. When I run this, you'll see all of these different settings pop up showing that it's running, and then it gives us an address down here. This address is a local IP address with the port number that your fake server is running on. So if I use command and click, which is what it tells me is the shortcut here, then it will open my fake server and it'll show me the traffic over here. And my server is showing my data in the browser. Now, the catch to this is, let's say before this image here, I want to put an H1 tag that just says, hello world, and I save it. Now, if I go back over here, hello world is not showing up. So just like when you open the file locally, which is what we did a minute ago, it will not show it until you refresh the page. And then our hello world pops up. Now, that's completely fine if you don't mind hitting the refresh button. And the advantage of doing it this way is that you get to see the traffic over here. You can see all the info it's seeing. Not really super important for what we're doing though. So I'm going to hit Control C to stop the server from running. Now I can go over here as well and check, and the server cannot be reached now. So it's not a problem. That's exactly what I wanted to happen. So another tip here, if you ever need to clear out all this stuff in the terminal, you can just type in clear and hit enter, and it'll clear it back to normal. So next we're going to look at live server. And I'm going to go over some of the reasons why I prefer it for when we're doing this kind of work. So we'll go into the extensions menu and type in live server, and it is the first one that pops up. Over 40 million downloads by Ritwick Day here. We want to use this one in particular because of the way that it interacts with us. So you'll click, on yours it'll have install right here. You'll click that, wait for it to install, then you can close this extension menu, and when you go back over to your files, you'll be able to right click and see open with live server there. So when I click this, it will open the browser window just like before. And so now I can see both the browser and I can see what I'm working on here. So let's change hello world to just be hello. And I'm going to let the file save. And now you see in the browser, it automatically switched to just show hello. That's fantastic. It takes one step out for me. I don't have to worry about it. Everything else is being served up the exact same way. And if I forget what this port number is down here, I have it so that I can go up here and I can put in local host colon and that port number and hit enter, and it's going to pull up the page. So a couple of advantages there. You see a couple of the disadvantages of using HTTP server. I think that it's better to go with the easier option here. Use live server. It updates when you save. If you wanted to see it update immediately, though, there is a third option. Now, the third option I don't think is as good an option for when you're coding with JavaScript or something like that, but it is new and it is improving every day, or every time they do an update to it, and it's this Microsoft Live Preview extension. Now, you can have this installed at the same time that you have live server and HTTP server installed, so you could go back and forth between the three. But once you install this one, in order to use it, you're going to go back over to your files, right click, and then you're going to see this option that's there now that says show preview. Now, the advantage of doing this one, when I click show preview, it opens in VS Code. So I can click up here and hide my sidebar and get a more complete picture of what I'm working with. I think that's a big advantage. Now, the disadvantage of it is every single key you make into your code is going to reload the page. So as I type out world, every single character that I type in updates. When you have JavaScript attached to it, every single time you type a character, it's going to update that JavaScript and rerun the entire file. So this one's okay if you're doing web design, but if you're doing a little bit deeper and you're like connecting forms and using JavaScript with that kind of stuff, live server is still the better option. Hopefully this gives you a couple options though, and kind of gives you a better understanding of how to use these tools. Now, one last thing that I will show you. If you decide that you've installed HTTP server and you don't want it, or you've installed it, you don't want it there anymore, you want to completely get rid of it, the command you're going to use for that is going to be sudo npm uninstall -g http-server. That tells it that we want to uninstall the global install of this, and by using sudo, it gives us the authorization to do so. So now it is completely uninstalled and I don't have HTTP server. For the other two, you'll just go to the extension page for that extension and click disable or uninstall. Thank you.